This one's not going to be very long or anything like that. I just want to rant, okay? This just makes me mad and I want to rant. Steven Crowder tweeted, exciting to have Tulsi Gabbard on the show for a long-form discussion, big tech, and boys and girls sports. Also, why Bruce Springsteen is a bumbling bag of talentless crap. What questions do you have? 10 a.m. Louder with Crowder. I fucking hate, I hate Tulsi Gabbard so much. I've never liked Tulsi Gabbard. I've never had any respect for Tulsi Gabbard whatsoever. I'm going to be completely honest with all of you. I think Tulsi Gabbard, in many ways, I think Tulsi Gabbard embodies a lot of what I hate about populism. I feel like Tulsi Gabbard is just populism distilled into one person, and I really fucking hate it. Don't get me wrong, there are some things about populism that I'm like that I like. Obviously, like being anti-establishment, it can be good and is fine, but like, holy shit, am I starting to get like fed up with it? You should never be like, you should never just say fuck populism, so much so to the point where you become completely fine with the establishment and don't push for more significant change. But if you're at the point where you're willing to like completely forsake any political efficacy and pragmatism because fuck the establishment, then go fuck yourself. And I feel like, hold on, God, I have so many thoughts about this, but I don't even know how to fucking, like, where to start. We'll do a paint stream. We'll start with a paint stream here, okay? I feel like the if we're talking about just like right to left populism or establishment to populism, I feel like it's like a triangle, okay? Like down here, like obviously here you have the left, and then you have the right, and then here you have like populism. All right, this is I feel like this is the general, this is how I like to imagine it, right? So obviously you have like left-wing populism, which is people like I don't know, people like Bernie Sanders, you know? Bernie Sanders is probably like down here somewhere, you know? And then you have people like Donald Trump, who I would say is probably like down here somewhere. But I feel like, actually, I'd say Trump is probably more around, like, probably on par with Bernie Sanders in regards to how populist he is. Actually, maybe a little less because, yeah, no, he's a bit less. He was actually pretty establishment. But I feel like there are so many people who are just raw fucking populist, okay? Just raw populist, not really, maybe leaning a bit more to the left, maybe leaning a bit more to the right. But I feel like once you start to go in any direction, you can't ever be like, when you're this populist, just outright fucking left-wing populism when you're that populist. I fucking hate it. So like, fuck, how do I describe this? Okay. Let me give you guys the opinion that someone who identifies as a populist would have. Two opinions they would have. War bad. Trans people cringe. That's like where Tulsi is, right? Like a lot of lefties supported Tulsi because she was like anti-war, but at the same time, and anyone should have been able to figure this out because of her rhetoric before, she was also kind of a reactionary with like trans people and stuff like that. I don't know. I really don't like populism, and this is something that really fucking pisses me off. I have yet to find a populist who doesn't lie, or I should say a hardcore populist who doesn't lie when it supports their political agenda, knowingly too. Holy shit. I feel like every time I see a post, I'm not talking about someone like Bernie. I've yet to see someone who identifies as a populist who hasn't gone and posted some like clip chimp thing of like a Democratic candidate that actually doesn't turn out to be true, or some like news article or headline or take that's completely wrong. I really fucking hate it. Is Vosh populist? Not in the sense that I'm talking about here. Yeah, Kyle Kalinske does this a lot. That's why I'm not a big fan of Kyle Kalinske, and I think people give Kyle way too much of a pass. Shuanhead leans into populism too hard, TBH. I agree. I think Shuanhead maybe goes a little bit too hard to the populism. generally, if she gets called out, whenever she does, Shuan Head many times before has like tweeted or spread misinformation, like recently too, because she's got more of a populist perspective on things. But if she's like made aware that what she tweeted or spread was misinformation, she typically doesn't do it knowingly, and then she apologizes for it and tries to clear things up. But I feel like something I notice a lot with people who are populist, whose like main political opinion is fuck the establishment, I see a lot of the time they have a tendency to see something that supports a narrative they believe in, and without doing anything to look further into it to like confirm it's true, immediately jump on it. They immediately tweet it out. They immediately give their hot take on it. It's really fucking cringy. I've done my best to stop doing stuff like that because it always comes to bite you in the ass, especially when you debate liberals. Do you guys remember? Now, I agree with Vosh during that debate. Like, I agreed with Vosh during that debate. But how many of you here saw Vosh's debate with Destiny the other night? Hypers, if you saw it. I assume many of you did. Yeah, many of you did. Vosh was right. But I could tell he was having a bit of a fucking sweaty moment when Destiny brought up the tweet from the primaries where he tweeted about the fucking Shadow app and how it's funded by I cannot tell you how many times I don't think Vosh tweeted this because he knew it was misinformation. He probably heard this just like I did. Probably heard, oh yeah, the Buttigieg campaign contributed to the fucking app or whatever, right? Which, if that was true, would obviously lead you to reasonably think there might be some fuckery happening behind the scenes. Turns out, if you do the research, it's actually not true. In reality, the company that made the app had actually made campaign contributions in regards to setting certain things up for the Buttigieg campaign. And so they had previously, way in the past, contributed money to that company, which had like a company under it which developed the app. It was like nowhere near what it was made out to be. Then there's cases like the Klobuchar thing, where lefties on Twitter and populists were tweeting out the fucking clip of Amy Klobuchar, where she's like, they made it out to seem like she was saying a $2,000, Vosh never said the DNC rigged Bernie. He didn't say the DNC rigged Bernie, at least as far as I'm aware. However, you can tell if you see that clip, that tweet that he said, he definitely regretted it because, as it turned out, what he said was absolutely pretty conspiratorial, not backed up by reality. It did not take a lot of research to disprove, but a lot of people, including myself in the past, and I know Vosh has gotten better with this now, he's talked about it on stream, have gotten better at not taking Twitter headlines at their word. I feel like a lot of leftist people, especially on the populist leaning side, are very quick to see a Twitter headline and fucking roll with it. And then when they end up debating a liberal or a sock dem or something, they get called out on it and it makes them look really fucking bad. Really, really fucking bad. Like what you just did with Title IX. Super, super ACP. I'm going to ban you from my chat because you were such a dumb fuck. Literally all I did was bring up a fucking article from about Article 9, read like the first paragraph, said, okay, seems like a lot of different groups have condemned it. Seems like the intention of the bill was positive, but then it had some like negative outcomes. Literally didn't say anything else besides it. This is like the third time you brought it up. I don't know what your obsession is with it, but I'm going to ban you next time you post cringe in chat. Shut the fuck up. All right. Now, with that said, I feel like a lot of lefties will see like a Twitter headline and then fucking roll with it and then go like super fucking hard, like pushing a narrative about it. Like, the one that I just brought up here is the Kyle is calling Russiagate conspiratorial. Yeah, and then they do the opposite thing too. That's completely, yeah, they do that shit too, where they say that the Russians colluding with the Trump campaign is a conspiracy theory that Democrats push. And then they totally strawman what Democrats have been saying. It was literally proven that the Russians made a deliberate effort to spread misinformation through social media platforms. And I believe, I believe last time I read that they had, that there were people within Trump's campaign not Trump himself, but within his campaign, who were aware of this and had communication with those in the Russian government that were doing it. For the most part, most of the initial claims, besides the hacking, were proven. There was some level of collusion between Donald Trump's campaign, there was no evidence that he did it, but part of his campaign, as well as the Russian government, to spread misinformation that would mislead voters into voting for Trump. And then lefties say that's conspiratorial. And that's like Democrat fucking lib shit, conspiracy shit. It really does piss me off. Listen, I really do believe that leftists can push for our ideology without doing this kind of stuff. But that's not collusion. The collusion part is the conspiracy. That's false. I'm pretty sure that it was found that there were people, there were trials about this. These were on C-SPAN constantly. There were trials where evidence was found that people involved with Trump were working with Russia to spread misinformation. No evidence of collusion, only online hackers. What are you fucking talking about? Okay, I'm pretty sure the person talking in chat exactly who I'm talking about. Hold on. Actually, we can Google it right now. Listen, I'll eat my words right now if I'm wrong about this. This is from AmericanProgress.org. Statement, U.S. Senate report confirms Trump campaign colluded with Russia, CAP's Neera Tanden says. This report confirms that Donald Trump colluded with Russia during the 2016 election. It confirms the worst suspicions about Trump's relationship with Russia, filling in holes left in the report from former special counsel Robert Mueller, as Trump excuses Russian President Vladimir Putin placing bounties on U.S. troops and Russia continues to interfere in our democracy to aid Trump's re-election. This report makes clear that there is no such thing as coincidence with Trump and Russia. The report from the Republican-led panel details close political coordination among the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks, and Russian intelligence and operatives in 2016. At the most pivotal moment in that campaign, when the Access Hollywood tape revealing President Trump's confession of a lifetime of sexual assault, Trump's confidant Roger Stone successfully requested that Russia's illegally hacked materials be released immediately. They literally fucking found there was evidence of collusion. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm banning your fucking ass from chat. So that person, the Alex person, my YouTube chat right there that I just banned, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There are populist lefties that'll literally fucking lie about this shit. They found evidence. They found like pretty fucking solid evidence that Russia, in some way, shape, or form, colluded with the Trump campaign to spread misinformation that would mislead voters into voting for Trump. It wasn't like the Russians were fucking hackermans hacking into the fucking like voting base and changing fucking votes. But there was a deliberate effort to deliberate effort to influence the election. I fucking hate populism. I really do. I cannot stand populism. Or this kind of populism, I should say. Not populism broadly, but like this particular kind. Ugh. Pisses me off so much. Guys, please, if there's anything you take from this segment, for the love of God, next time you see a Twitter post... Oh, no, never mind. I have a better example. Do you guys remember after Evo Morales' party ended up winning re-election in Bolivia recently? It was late last year. Do you guys remember that? Hypers, if you remember that. We all remember that, right? And then every fucking lefty on Twitter was making themselves look like fucking idiots because there's like this literally easily falsifiable conspiracy that Elon Musk and Tesla were getting their lithium for their products from Bolivia when they literally, I'm pretty sure they mine it from Africa and Australia, by the way. They don't get anything from Bolivia. They kept showing images of... they kept showing images after the election, saying, "Oh, look at this! Tesla stock is down really bad after the re-election of Evo Morales." Or his party, not more Evo Morales himself, but like the Socialist Party in Bolivia, saying, look, oh, fuck, they all know Tesla's fucking stock price is going down because... And I saw that on Twitter, And this was one of the times where I was like, okay, this is really easy to fact check. So what I ended up doing is I, looked up Tesla's stock on Twitter, and I was like, or on Google. And I was like, okay, it was going down, just like it's going down right now. But then I expanded it out to a week. Obviously, right now, the stock market is in kind of a shitty place because of the GME shit, but that's unrelated. But I ended up expanding it out to 6 months and seeing that, I think this was around the time when it happened. I think it was in like November or something. It was around here. People looked at this, which was like 1 or 2 days worth of time, saying, oh, look, Tesla's stock value is fucking plummeting because of the party of Evo Morales getting reelected and the fascist being kicked out of power. And I looked at it and I was like, well, it looks like it's a general, like, it doesn't seem like anything crazy is happening with Tesla stock. Like, this has been pretty consistent for a while. And sure enough, I was completely fucking right. It took 5 minutes of research to find out where Tesla got their lithium from. They don't get it from Bolivia. The whole Bolivian fucking lithium mines and shit like that was a completely fucking made up narrative that I saw hundreds of thousands of fucking lefties on Twitter retweeting, making themselves looking like idiots. People like Destiny were able to call you guys out and shit on you. And guess what? He was right. He was completely fucking right. When liberals attack lefties for doing this kind of shit, they are completely fucking right. That should hurt. That should motivate you not to hate liberals more, but instead to be like, maybe there is a problem on the left with people seeing something, and with populists broadly, with seeing something like on Twitter that reaffirms their base assumptions and then spreading it around without doing the tiniest bit of research on it. I've done it before. I own up to that. It's a big fucking problem on the left. The right does it way worse, obviously, but the left shouldn't be doing it at all. We should discourage this kind of shit on the left, and we should not normalize it or make it seem like it's acceptable. Jesus Christ. Maybe we should fact check ourselves? Yeah. Like, I feel like I could scroll on my Twitter timeline and find a story right now that's like, that leftists are talking about. That's like, wow, good thing I am not showing my screen right now. I follow way too many sex workers. Whew. Actually, I follow just the right amount. Not enough, actually. Here, I want to see if I can find an example. I'll scroll down until I find a leftist that I follow who's posted like some thread that I can like do more research on right here on stream and find that it's like completely fucking misleading. Here, actually, I know the perfect example. Let's look it up. Yeah. Look at this one. This is probably my go-to one. This is the one that made me really realize, holy fuck, am I losing respect for the entirety of the left on the internet sometimes, okay? So here we have Jordan. Jordan Ull is cool person. Don't get me wrong. They're generally a pretty cool person, but even they fell for this. This isn't just like something that like nobodies on Twitter do. I feel like this is a problem with even large public figures on the left, okay? So here's the clip. Amy Klobuchar just wanted MSNBC to call raising the stimulus to $2,000 per person, quote, an attack on every American, and suggest Congress override Trump's veto. 2,000 retweets, 3,000 quote tweets, 14.5 thousand likes. Don't hate Jordan here, but I would delete this tweet if I were them. People, doubling down. Here's someone that actually fact-checked here. What Klobuchar actually said: unemployment will end the day after Christmas if this doesn't pass. Vaccine distribution in this $30 billion in this is 30 billion, 300 billion to help small businesses. You're right. They should have never gotten here and held out for more, but she's not totally wrong. We'll find the full clip in a second. Let's watch this clip and see how it's edited to make it look.
And now he's saying that he's going to veto it. There is some nuance to it, with him saying that he wants a larger size payment to the American people, which is something that Democrats argued for at every step of the process. And now House Democrats say, okay, well, if that's what he wants, we'll provide him with that.
Destiny made a video about it. I know Destiny made a video about it because guess what? Every single time lefties on Twitter do this kind of shit, liberals are completely in the right to call it out. And they're correct. When liberals call out leftists for doing this kind of thing, for spreading misinformation, they are completely in the right to do it.
That I wonder just what you make of this very last minute scramble of what we thought was going to proceed here with this relief bill.
I kept thinking tonight, well, these pardons are an attack on our very democracy. This is an attack on every American. People who are struggling to get by right now, out of work, whose the unemployment is going to basically end the day after Christmas if this doesn't pass. People who are out of work, people who need the help. The vaccine distribution, Rachel, is in this $30 billion. These vaccines are not going to just parachute into a small town in the middle of Minnesota. We need the help for the states to get the vaccines out. And he is literally undermining our entire effort on testing and vaccine distribution. This was a hard-fought negotiation. Of course, you're right. Democrats were pushing for more funds for the individual payments. But in the end, this was a negotiation. And
yeah, I like how even in the fucking breaking news thing here, it says House Democrats will attempt to pass bill to provide $2,000 direct payments. Even this is how fucking bad people are at this kind of stuff, where they'll like hear what they want to hear, and then even in the fucking clip, it shows the context of the clip. House Democrats will attempt to pass bill to provide $2,000 to Americans. So what she's talking about here, I can't remember if it was before this clip or after this clip, they were talking about how Trump, because a bunch of lefties on Twitter and just general populists were saying, oh, wow, Trump has outdone, Trump has gone rogue and is trying to give the American people more money during a pandemic because the Democrats just want to give $600, Trump, or $1,200, I can't remember, and Trump wants to give $2,000. That wasn't what happened at all. Trump tried to pull an ultimatum. He wanted to eliminate a bunch of spending bills that he thought were unnecessary. These spending bills being quite necessary and also being bills that we all agree should be passed. They were for vaccine distribution and like healthcare, things like that. I don't remember exactly. Don't quote me on it. But they were like, this is something that Republicans try to do very often, where they'll take like one big popular like policy, and they'll wrap it up along with a bunch of smaller, not as important policy. And then they'll say, if you want this one really good, like popular policy to pass, it comes along with these caveats. These other bills get passed with it. And they try to sneak them in like that. That's what Trump was trying to do. Trump was saying, oh, I'll pass the $2,000. I'll pass the $2,000 stimulus bill, but it's going to come with a few caveats. We're going to cut spending on these things, these things that, Democrats and just generally progressive Americans wouldn't want spending to be cut on. And then on top of that, even if it did get passed, even if Trump did pass it, the fucking, McConnell wouldn't have let it go through anyway. Trump was literally just doing it for political capital. It wasn't going to go through. The Democrats weren't holding it back. They were pushing for it. But they were pushing against Trump's attempt to try to sneak a bunch of bullshit in through this completely doomed to fail $2,000 stimulus bill. And then you had all these leftists on Twitter that were saying, oh, base Trump, populists posting, oh, Trump's gone rogue. He's actually going to do good stuff now to say, fuck the Republican Party. That's not what was happening. Please, for the love of God, do your research. Don't fucking fall for stuff like this, okay? If you fall for shit like this, it doesn't make you a bad person, but holy fuck does it make the left, you as well as the rest of the left, so much more vulnerable to refutations from liberals and centrists. What's with the Nigel stuff? Oh, there's just some like Nazi in chat that's just like making new accounts and then spamming. Yeah, just for the love of God. I don't know. I've just gotten really annoyed with populism. Do we have anyone who objects here? Remember during the BLM protests when lefties lied about Klobuchar and Derek Chauvin? I actually don't remember that one, Canada 420, but I'm not surprised. Destiny said the Republicans were trying to cut most welfare programs in the bill. Yeah, JDog95, I'm pretty sure that was what was happening. This is something that Republicans do very often, where they hide shitty bill. They try to pass like shitty legislation hidden under like a larger bill. They do it all the time. I think there's like literally a specific word for it. I don't remember what it's called, but like there's a word for what it is, and it's really scummy. And it was literally just a political move by Trump. Kalinske claimed that it was a shame that Trump's presidency was cut short. I'm not surprised. Xander Hall, the worshipping of populist rhetoric is what caused the cancerous belief that the far right and the far left can work together. Yeah, it really fucking makes me want to die. The far left and the far right, no matter how many things they agree on, can never work together, because at the end of the day, the far right and the far left agree on things like war bad, workers good, but they disagree on things like should black people exist? Should black people be allowed to have working, allowed to have rights? Should gay people be allowed to exist? Things like that. Right-wing populism is basically Nazism, or at least white nationalism, like Nazbols and stuff like that. And I feel like when you're just like full-on hardcore populist, it's so fucking easy to like slide down either side so quickly. Holy shit. Yeah, and the far right loves war. Yeah, but they claim not to. Yeah, but going back to the original thing, like, yeah, Tulsi's always been a piece of shit. I've never thought positively of Tulsi in any way. I've always known that Tulsi was like this sort of like ultra populist, like didn't really have any genuine pragmatic political beliefs at all, and probably had some pretty reactionary views as well. Tulsi sexy? She's hot. Tulsi is hot. But generally speaking, I don't decide which political candidates I like or will support based on their attractiveness. I'm not that much of a coomer. But yeah, for the love of God, please do some fucking research, okay? This isn't a lefty thing or like a right-winger thing. It's something that I feel like this is something that's almost inherent to being on Twitter. People see something that supports their narrative and they retweet it or they talk about it. Just don't do that, because we're the left. We're not the right. The left should be held to a higher standard than the right. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that us on the left should be holding ourselves to a higher standard than we hold people on the right. We should at least meet the bare minimum of not spreading misinformation. Definitely not knowingly. And ideally, taking the 5 minutes that it takes if you see like a big Twitter headline to like Google what happened and read a few credible news articles, maybe even just one. Usually you only have to read one. Even if it's just like the ending or the beginning of the article, that'll usually tell you enough than what a Twitter headline will tell you. Didn't Vosh also retweet that clip? Yes, he did. And you know what he did after that? Once he found out that clip was extremely misrepresented, he made a whole video about how he was wrong for retweeting that clip, and he doesn't like that leftists do this. And I'm very glad that he did that. There's a reason why, like, I hate a lot of other leftist content creators, but Vosh is one of the few leftist content creators I'm friends with. Like, when I really think about it, there aren't that many leftist content creators I'm friends with, because I feel like a lot of them are, I don't know. Well, with many of them, I don't really bother to speak with them, but also I feel like many of them aren't very genuine. I appreciate how genuine Vosh is. So that's one of the reasons that I'm friends with him. I remember he lost his shit with his chat. Yeah, his chat was trying to defend the spreading of misinformation. Also, a thing I hate from populists is the rejection of mainstream media. Yeah, this is a big one too. This actually feeds into the main problem, where if you tell a populist, hey, this thing that you quote tweet or that you retweeted or fucking spread around about Amy Klobuchar is wrong, they'll say, oh, where'd you get that from? CNN, MSNBC, or MSDNC? Do you really think those are credible sources? And it's like, okay, well, what the fuck do you want now? You'll trust a fucking Twitter headline, but you won't trust fucking CNN? Populism is fucking cancer. God help me. Hey, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. It helps the video a lot. If you want to see more of my content, please subscribe and ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I live stream or upload a new video. Also, if you're watching this right after it was uploaded, I should be live in 1 hour at 1 PM PST every day on YouTube and my website, xanderhall.com. Please come stop by and say hello. I love seeing new people in chat. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links are in the description. Join my fan Discord if you want to contact me for a discussion or debate through the link in the description as well. If you're feeling extra generous and you can afford it, you can support me financially by donating or subscribing on my website, hitting the join button below the video to become a channel member, or super chatting during my streams. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.